Hello everyone, this is Arpita, a naturalist, and I also work as an expedition leader as well as in conservation sector. Conducted many surveys with Forest Department in central, south, and northeast part of India. I have been working with wildlife for last 20 years, and here I am to share my experience and information with all of you about reptiles. Let me take you for a short trip to the world of the reptiles. Reptiles. Do you know that we have some characteristic of a reptile and our ancestors come from them? Let's see how. So this all happened around 320 million years back. It was not that easy. When the earth was formed, or rather when the first life formed on the earth, these all were marine. And gradually, the competition was rising high. So, some smaller creatures need to find a different place or different area to survive. That's how this creature came along. A fish-like creature called Tiktaalik, which crawled from the ocean to the land around 375 million years ago. And that gave rise to the amphibians, the first vertebrate on land. But their life was not that easy to survive on land because they need to go back to the water to lay their eggs. Because the jelly-like egg would get easily dried up in that atmosphere. Then the evolution brought a change to form a reptile. And that's where a radical change has come. How? Because they are the first amniotes. Now, what is amniotes? Amniotes are a very complete different types of egg. The embryo is protected inside a sac filled with fluid and covered with a shell. It could be hard or soft, leathery. But it was a new change for the whole animal world. So, what are reptiles? They are the first amniotes. The reptiles have a backbone, so they are vertebrates. And they lay egg. They have scales or scutes. The very important thing, they are ectothermic. That means they cannot produce heat from within. They have to acquire heat from the surrounding to energize their body to do their work. And of course, they are the first one who invade the land very freely after they come out from the ocean. So let's go back to some interesting thing. As we know, they came from the water, but we see reptiles in every habitat, in forest, caves, desert, ocean, except a very cold areas like Antarctic or Arctic. Then they're they're everywhere. So let's know something about the reproduction. Do you know they don't have sex chromosome? That means when the embryo is inside, we really cannot say whether it's a male or a female. But that their sex is determined by the surrounding temperature. So the variation in temperature brings out the hatchling as male or as female. Reptile has three different types of reproduction. The viviparous, which is very more like us, giving life birth to the young. Next, the oviviparous, which we generally know that they lay egg, and of course, don't forget, they are the first amniotes. Then the third one, which is really interesting and pretty fascinating, that is parthenogenesis. The female don't need a male here. They can reproduce by themselves alone. Now, let's know about the classifications of reptile. First comes the crocodilia, where there are 26 species around the world, and India we got to see 3. Sphenodontia. There are 2 species of tuatara, and that is also endemic to New Zealand. Squamatas. This family holds the largest number of species. And then the testudines. There are 356 species of testudines in the world, and India has 34. Wow. Let us know a little more about the crocodile family. So tell me something, what do you notice when you see a crocodile for the first time? I do see their beautiful smile with this sharp teeth. Do you know? They don't have to worry about a gummy smile ever because they have near about 50 set of teeth lying down inside their gum. And not only that, this teeth reminds me of a prehistoric animal. Yes, the dinosaur. They are closely related with the dinosaur and bird. Imagine if a bird get to know about this, it will scare them out, isn't it? Okay, but these teeth are not for chewing. They are for grabbing its prey and tearing the flesh and the bone with just a sling. Isn't that incredible? Yeah. Let us know a little more about the other features of a crocodile. So, the skin of the crocodile is very tough. They are covered with scutes. If you go towards the right, you will see there are pores and a watery substance is coming out. Those are the salt glands. So every crocodile has a salt gland, but few are inactive as well as few are active, just like the saltwater crocodile. It helps to release the excess salt from their body. Next comes the tail, which is made out of strong muscle, and they are that strong that a crocodile can lift itself from the water or from the ground with the support of it. And you know something funny? If you see a fat tail, you would know that the crocodile is having a good health. But if you see a tail shrinked down, that means it is malnutrited. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Next is their vision. At night, if you go to a place where there are crocodiles, you would see a shiny reddish thing glittering from that water surface or from the area. Those are crocodile eyes. Crocodile night vision is way more powerful than what human has. Next is, do you know that crocodile do vocalize? Yes. In different condition and situation, depending on the species and sex, they do communicate with different kind of vocal sounds. For example, the hatchlings, when they come out, they make a sound like ah, 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 ah. Yes, this is how they let their mother know that we are out. Then, if a crocodile is submerged, they do a sound which is called bellowing. That means sound like like this. So they can do that sound even if their mouth is closed. Then there are other like showing their aggression when they growl like a tiger. Then it is better to back off. because they're not liking your presence out there. And that is also the sound which indicates the dominant crocodile around that area. This is a very usual picture which we come across, seeing a crocodile keeping its mouth open and basking. And we see a skin-like thing near the throat. That's a valve which prevents the water going inside when this predator gulping its prey or when it is breathing through its nostrils when it is submerged in the water. Do you know that the crocodile has the most sophisticated heart in the entire animal world, including us? We have one aortic arch, but the crocodile has two. One is directly connected to the stomach. Now, the blood which runs through the body is rich in carbon dioxide, which is a primary thing to help in digestion. In case of a crocodile heart, there is a tiny valve which redirects this deoxygenated blood into the stomach, which increases the stomach acid and helps them in digesting the whole prey they swallow. And this feature is more like a prehistoric one. But not only that, they are very special due to some other features present in them, which is, if you look through, you will see a tiny dot into these scutes. These are the nerve endings, which can detect temperature, pressure, and vibration, no matter which surface is it on. Let us know about the species we find in India. Let's start with saltwater crocodile. They are the largest living reptile on the planet. They are very aggressive and have the greatest bite force among all the animals we have around us. The male can grow up to 23 feet and the female grow little less than them. Their size and the bite strength make them a perfect hunter, a fisherman, a scavenger, as well as a cannibalizer. And they are the only species of crocodile who build their nest. They collect all the vegetation and then they lay their egg in a cluster. If you see at the bottom, that's the nest which was protecting by the female. And when we went close to collect the egg for artificial incubation, it almost made us climb to the top of the tree. Yeah, it is a funny story, but it is very true. And they feed on whatever they get. They don't distinguish between the food. They just need to fill their tummy. Here comes our second one, the fresh water or the marsh crocodile. They are also known as muggers, which means the water monster, but they're less aggressive than the saltwater. You can see the woman behind who is cutting the grass is very comfortable, as well as the crocodile. The male can grow up to 15 feet and the woman less than that. They prefer to feed on fish, but sometimes can change their diet too, with birds and small mammals. Here, they don't build a nest, but they dig hole on the sandbank and lay their egg and protect them. Or you can say they can guard them. That's generally all the crocodiles do. Here comes our third one and the most morphologically unique one among all the crocodile species around the world. Because of their bulging eyes and elongated snout with near about 110 puncturing teeth. And they got their name Gharial from a Hindi word which is ghara. That means a mud pot. If you see into the picture at the bottom, there is a knob at the tip of the snout of a male, and that's the ghara. So the male use this ghara for amplifying the vocalization as well as creating bubbles during a mating display. The male here grows up to 16 to 18 feet and has been considered as the largest in the crocodile family, along with saltwater and Nile crocodile. If you see their body, they are built to rule the river system. They live in running water, that is river or stream. They also congregate for mating and for making nest on the sandbanks or the mudflats of the river. So they are master hunter for the fish. That elongated snout is lethal. When the fish come close, they just whip their head sideways like a slingshot, and before the fish could realize, they are dead. Gharials are also known for their great parenting behavior. So the females rather, they lay eggs in a same area, and when the hatchling comes out, both the parent guard them like a guard dog. And look at the picture on the left, top left. That is the father. So the father carry all the young on his back and give them a free ride. No, actually not only that. So it is the protection as well as the connection they built with the hatchlings. Any predator approaching close, they rush to the parents who is nearby. Isn't that incredible? So after we got to know about the water monsters, we need to come back on the land where we will get to know about our second order, which is Sphenodontia. For that, we need to go to New Zealand because that's the only place where they are found. So they are the tuataras, and they are known as the epithet of living fossil, and they are restricted to the rocky islands of the coast of New Zealand. These are the one. They look like a lizard, but they are not lizard. There are different features which differentiate them from a lizard and the Sphenodontias. They are nocturnal burrowers. They live in the cave done by the birds. They feed on bird chicks, insects, whatever they get. And they can grow big. The male almost grow 3 feet and the female almost 2 feet. And there is no sexual dimorphism between them. That's cool, right? Next is our Squamata, the third order. And not only that, this order holds the largest number of species. These snakes, geckos, lizards all fall under this order. So let's begin with a snake. They're creepy, scary, wriggly, a lot of word we get to hear about them. But there are much more funnier and beautiful stuff about snakes. They are elongated. They have the elongated body. They don't have limbs like us. And they're carnivores. Yes, carnivores. They don't drink milk or any other food. They need meat to survive. I know you might have come across a lot of videos or in a movie we see that the snake is drinking milk and you can see the jaw movement, but actually those snakes, especially from the charmer, they keep those snakes dehydrated for a pretty long time, and that's the reason why any liquid would do. It's not a particularly milk they drink, they just need to drink something. Even let me tell you, I have seen people have offered roti and chawal to snakes. That's really weird. And When we talk about snakes, let me tell you that they don't have eyelid. Yeah, there's eyelids, so they cannot close their eyes. They need to they coil their body, they need to tuck their head down to avoid harsh weather and so that their eyeball doesn't dry up. Then, because of the elongated body, all the organs inside a snake is elongated. The kidney, lungs, intestines, spleen, everything is long. And they are vertebrate, of course, but they because of the wriggle, sometimes people might think that they don't have like bones, but they do have bones from head till the tail tip, and their bones look like this. See, it almost looks like a bangle, isn't it? Then comes to a very interesting part about a snake. Do you know that, like us, snakes do have nostrils, but they can smell by their tongue? That's weird, but that's true. Have you noticed a bifurcated, or I would say a forked tongue of snakes? Yes. So they have two ends, right? And they just take their tongue out and they sometimes do like this. So that means they are capturing the scent molecules and taking information, whatever it is there around them. And while they're taking their tongue and touching the roof of their head, what happens? It touches an organ which is known as Jacob's sense organ. This is like a chemical receptor, like scent receptor. So that gives the information to the brain that whatever they are tasting, what it is. That's incredible, right? Next comes, which is very obvious in a snake. We have seen in movies and in pictures, the python or any snake is like swallowing a huge prey, coiling down. Do you remember the anaconda? I mean, from the top, it started swallowing the man from above. Yes, they actually can open their jaw big enough because they can move, they can dislocate this two jaw. We cannot. We can only move our lower jaw, but in case of a snake there is a lock over here and that opens or that moves, so they can actually open their jaw way bigger than the size of their mouth, and they can swallow the whole prey by by this mechanism. And while doing that, you know that windpipe, can you see a pipe with a hole? So what they do while swallowing, they put their windpipe aside so that they can breathe while swallowing their food. Then this is a snake skin. No, 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 the snake is not dead. So, as we grow old, we need to change our clothes, right? So, it's the same for the snake. They need room when they grow. So, they have to leave their old skin. And also, it helps to get rid of the mites or insects or any kind of bacteria if the snake has. This is called molting. So a snake can molt one or twice in a year. It depends. The more they grow bigger, the rate of molting slows down. In case of a baby snake, they molt quite often because they're growing faster. That's something really cute, right? When we reach at a stage, then we can use our clothes again and again. But when we are young, we have to change every year. Just relate your life with these creatures. And this process of molting is called ecdysis. After ecdysis, we would know about these bigger nostrils. They look like nostrils, but they are not. They are heat sensing pit. And that's why the kind of snakes which has this pit, they are called pit vipers. Interestingly, this way, they can actually approach towards its prey by sensing the heat. So, if you ever put a cold thing or a warmer stuff in front of a pit viper, they would react to the warmer one because of this, because of the presence of this heat sensing pit. How amazing that is! Next, when we talk about snakes, or generally people get scared that whenever it's a snake, it will have venom, and if it bites, you will be dead. Not really. So there are two kinds, like venomous and non-venomous. In case of a venomous one, there are three types of venom, which is hemotoxic, that affects the circulatory system, the neurotoxic, which affects the nervous system, and the cytotoxic, which affects the muscular system. Now, when we talk about venom, in India, we use polyvenom to create an antivenom. We use four mainly, but I have kept one extra venomous snake because we are covering eastern India as well. So first, we will go with this common crate. Crate venom is very potent. And how would you know that it's a crate? A very simple thing. In the dorsal ridge, the scales are hexagonal in shape. So that is very simple. Don't have to go really close, but if you could see the hexagonal scale, you could be rest assured that it's a crate. It doesn't matter. This is a common crate, but it doesn't matter which crate it is. All crates will have this scales. Then comes to the monocle cobra. Monocles are mostly found in the eastern region of India, and they have the hood marking, which could be round or rhombus in shape, but there are various forms in their color and pattern. Sometimes even we find there is splitted hood mark, just like on the picture at the left side. They could be joined together, or they have only a small dot. It could be anything. You can only notice that in monocle cobra, the hood is very slim and they don't raise their hood for a pretty long time. And then comes to the spectacle cobra. Spectacle. So the name, if you see the hood mark, it's a U shape, like, and has the dots. So it's like the specks. That's how it got its name. In central and the western side of India, this black morph is very common. But in eastern zone, this chocolate, dark chocolate color, looks yummy, but it's a snake. And this light brown color of morph we generally come across. Then comes the saw-scale viper. It's a tiny one, but has huge force. When it rubs against its body, I mean body to body, it makes a sound like saw. That's how it got its name, the saw-scale viper. It lives in a very arid region, so wherever you are walking, if you are lifting a stone, you might find the snake like well camouflaged in that area. Then comes the Russell viper. It's actually a deadly snake, I would say. So this one and the common crate, these are the two very common snake we mostly get to hear in snake bite cases. So this Russell viper, we call it also land mines. It's a private joke. Actually, whenever there is a Russell viper, we know in that area, we always say that, oh, be careful, there are landmines. And this snake is so stubborn. They don't move from their place, no matter how close you get. They will only whistle like a pressure cooker. So if any time you are walking somewhere and you know there are Russell vipers, and suddenly you get to hear a pressure cooker whistle, don't think that somebody is cooking their food over there. It could be a Russell viper, so be careful. Let's know about femur snakes. First is on the left is the king cobra. We cannot miss this snake, right? King cobra is not a cobra. It belongs from a very different, absolutely different genus, which is Ophiophagus hana. Ophio means snake, phagus means eating. That means who eats snakes. And hana means grace, the attitude. I mean, you can bow in front of the snake. They are so majestic. And you know what? The first time this king cobra has been described from the Sundarban specimen. That's why I use this picture. And this is the only snake in the world which build their nest. Yes, the female will gather all the vegetation just like the saltwater crocodile, make mound, leave the cluster of egg over there, and she will be around. She lives from that area just before the hatchling would come out. How clever is that? You know one interesting thing? A group of king cobras are called quiver. That's nice. Then comes to the top right is the checkered killback. So this is a very common water snake and had variety of morph, almost more than 30, I believe. And then on the bottom left is the common bull snake. This is a poor guy. People mostly mistaken it with a crate because of those band, this band marking on its body. But this only gets into your home or house or in bookshelf in the kitchen to get the geckos or the mice. Then on the bottom right is our rat snake. It is rat snake. By the name we know that it prefer to feed on rats and which really helps the farmer. Otherwise, we would have died out of hunger if all the rats are moving around. So this snake can grow really big. Sometimes we really get a call that there is a cobra, there is a huge cobra. We rush in and we see that's just a rat snake. Elegant one. Next is the buff striped killback. It's a grass snake. On the top right, it's the common trinket. Look at it. It's a non-venomous one, but look at the attitude. I mean, this H-shape map, anybody can get scared, and that's exactly what this snake is doing, to scare you. Then the bottom left is the Malabar pit viper. Remember the pit viper? Yeah, so this is endemic to southern part of India. And towards the bottom right is our green pit viper. There are different species of green pit viper in the north, found mostly in the northeastern side of India. Then the common cat snake. Meow. No, it doesn't meow, but it got its name because of its eye. If you see this eye, there is a vertical pupil, and that's how it got its name. And it is nocturnal, and there are different species of rat snake. The cat snake. Then comes our python. So India has 3 species of python: rock python, Burmese, and the reticulated python. Reticulated python is the longest snake in the world. Yes, it is bigger than the anaconda. How interesting it is. So, after knowing a little more about the snakes, let me ask you about this picture. Have you ever come across uh, in a picture or somewhere where 2 or 3 snakes are entangled between each other and trying to move up? And generally, we get to hear that, oh my God, the snakes are mating. Sorry, but they don't make love in front of others. Actually, they are fighting, and this called a male combat. And imagine that how gracefully they fight without biting or killing each other. They do this fight for territory as well as for the female. I hope they get her attention. So now you know that this is a fighting, not mating.
That's all about snakes. And then our next one is the lizard. So, how do they differ from a snake? They have kind of an elongated body as well. But the first and foremost thing what we notice about a lizard is their body is divided into three segments: the head, trunk, and a tail. And their trunk has four limbs. Now it's just like us with toes in it and claws. Then they have a few more additional facilities that snakes don't have, just like a movable eyelid. They can close their eyelids and go off to sleep without getting anything on the eye. So, and they are of variable sizes and shape. They can be fat, small, tiny, all kind. And they have external ear. Sometimes this is open, or sometimes there is a sheet or a scale over there. That is called the tympanum. And they need basking, of course, it's a reptile. And few lizards can actually lose their tail in front of the predator to confuse it, that which to catch. But the lizard don't die, they regrow that tail again after a few months. So nothing to worry. And few can change their colors according to the surrounding or according to their mood. I wish I could do that. Like with my mood, I'm changing color into red, blue, green. Wow, how cool is that? And you know, few lizards are also vocal. Yes, they do call. Then, this in the group of lizards, there are near about 6,000 species. And of course, it has to be because under lizards, there are monitor lizards, iguanas, chameleons, smaller lizards, geckos, skinks. Imagine. So let's start with the monitor lizards. Do you know that how they got the name monitor? Not the class monitor or school monitor, but actually what has happened, there is a story that in Nile, in Egypt, people used to tie a big lizard like this in near the river with the boulders while they're using the rivers for their day-to-day work. And if the lizard is cooled down and just basking quietly, then they know that there is no crocodile around. But if the lizards become restless and trying to get out from, I mean, from the edge of the water, the people get alert that there could be a crocodile. So they used to monitor that area for that danger. That's how they got their name. So first we will come to the water monitor. That is the largest monitor we have in India. So out of four. And they are wonderful swimmers. Have you seen the movie Godzilla? How they actually use their tail like a what do you say? A paddle-like thing. I mean, they are moving and they look amazing in that. And they're very strong. They are scavengers. Keep your surroundings really clean. And yes, sometimes you will see them on the tree trunk because where they sleep and bask. Um, then comes the yellow monitor on the bottom left. It is yellow monitor, but when they are young, they are beautiful. They have different shades like orange, brown. But more they grow, they lose that color and turns into yellow one. But they are mostly in the semi wetland. Like they would be in the agricultural field. You can get grassland and everywhere. Then comes the Bengal monitor, which is one of the common monitor in all over India. They you will see find them in the forest, and sometimes they are very good climbers. So If you have ever crossed a road where you would find big trees with holes, you might see a monitor lizard is just, looking at you and peeping from there. So that's fun to look at. And then comes the desert monitor. So by the name you can know, we mostly find them near the desert area. And all these monitors are, in the threatened species because people poach them for their skin as well as for the meat. That's really sad. Next, we come to the garden lizard or the calatis. There are different species of calatis, and which is all over India. Then the salia, or we call the horse-billed spiny lizard. This is a high-altitude lizard. I call it Turuk Makto from the Aviator. Do you remember the movie? Because its color and its aggression, what it shows, it's beautiful. Then at the bottom, it's our Indian flying lizard. Flying lizard, no, they don't fly like birds. They glide. They climb at the top of the tree. Mostly, they prefer tree like coconut, areca. So there are no stems, and they climb at the top, and from there they just select a target where they have to glide. So they straight come there and stuck into that area. Draco never comes down on the ground. Only the female come down to lay the egg. They make a small dent on the ground by their snout, and will lay the clutch over there. And she stays there for near about 24 hours, and then she leaves. That's nice, huh? You are spending rest of the life just like the hula gibbons. They spend they spend mostly on the trees. They hardly come down on the ground. Sorry. And you know what? In a Draco, if you look carefully, there is a yellow skin which is coming out. So that is something by which it attracts the insects because it looks like a flower petal. Not only that, they actually make a territorial display as well as to impress the female. They keep on moving that while climbing at the top. How nice it is. I mean, they look cool, especially when they fly. Wow, amazing. Next is our limbless lizard. Limbless. That means no limb. They are burrowing lizards. And you know what? They are very colorful. Not only that, they look like a snake, but they are lizards. They have their scales are not overlapped. They are placed side one after another, and then they don't molt like a snake. They molt like a lizard, like part by part. And in they feed on small termites, ants, and all small creatures. So that's so beautiful, right? Then it comes to our agamas. Agamas are healthy lizard. I call them because mostly agamas are pretty fat and you feel like that. Right? They are from, a very um, foodie family and they're beautifully colored. They flashes colors like anything, and especially during the territorial displays. And even not only territorial, when they have to mate, they move around female again and again and splashing their colors and do a lot of tail movement. And it's really difficult for the agama to convince the female that okay, may I mate with you? Okay, that's funny to look at. Then the bottom left is the house gecko. There are different species of geckos and varieties of geckos. But the one we see on the wall are the house geckos. And next come our day gecko. Day gecko means which is active during day as well. The first difference you will notice it is eye. They have a round pupil and they could be various like they could be of various colors. And next our golden gecko. This is one of my favorite, not because of its color, but because of the lamellae. Their hand, their, their feet. It is like a branched, just like the um, crustacean fungus, or yeah, that's how you see them growing on the tree. Their lamellae looks like that. Um, Then comes our toke gecko. The toke is the one of the most largest gecko in the world, as well as the most trafficked one. It it got its name from from its call like toke, toke. And unfortunately, all the poachers make the same call, and this poor fellow replies back to that, and they are bagged and sold into the pet market. That's we have to be very careful. I mean, before revealing or discussing all this thing, because awareness is very much required. Then comes to the skink. Skinks are found everywhere and they are so fast that sometimes I think they can actually outrun the fastest runner in the world. Um, um, you can actually jump on it, but still it is difficult to get hold of them. They are so sensitive and they have Europini and they kind of look like a limbless lizard, but they have limbs. Sometimes people mistaken it by snakes as well because they are found in the leaf litter. So if you see sudden a movement, you see the tail, and people say, "Oh my God, that is a snake." And then is our chameleon, one and only chameleon in India, which is the Cameleo xylonicus. So this is how it is roasting, and I really adore because when we talk about a chameleon, we first see that in just flashing. I mean, it's a lightning speed. Uh, the tongue comes out and takes the insect and swallows it.